Welcome to WOWBIZ Weekly. My name is Lynn Hinderaker. This is Omaha's only local business news magazine podcast, not broadcast notably. And you're on WOWBIZTV.com or on YouTube or possibly both. Thanks for joining us. We have an incredible show today. Obviously, this entire event that you're watching is brought to you, at least in part, by the Creighton University's College of Business Administration. Some of the students associated with COBA are here in the audience, and you're going to hear them right now, ladies and gentlemen, please. That went well. Pleasure to have you. I've got a great show today. It's a very eclectic show. We're going to be talking to at least 4 of the leaders, the movers and shakers here in the Omaha business community. And my first guest, special guy, known him for many years. You've heard his name. Steve Jordon is a veteran reporter with the Omaha World Herald's Money section. He's on top of what's evolving right now here in the Omaha area. And we're going to call him Mr. Steve Jordon to let us know the big picture. Steve Jordon from the Omaha World Herald, everybody. There we are. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Good. Hey, I want to tell you something. The CEO of Hearst Corporation recently brought in all his regional local television managers, all right? And he said, your assignment is to fly higher. That was the theme of this meeting they had in New York, fly higher, which essentially meant let's get the big picture here and let's really look at the ecosystem within which the TV industry operates, which would be basically media as a whole and even content, which is a vast pool that we're a part of as well. So what I'd like to ask you to do is talk with me about some of the issues of the World Herald that have been out there. Every day is a staccato picture of Omaha, but let's see if we can't connect the dots. And I know I got a point of view, but let's hear about yours. I know that you focused a little bit on commercial development, which seems to be robust here in Omaha. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, we've had a series of stories over the last, as things happen over the last several weeks and months, and it's Omaha's got some dynamic places. There was another story in there just today about this section of town near Jocelyn Art Museum, redeveloping that. But we've got some with
really. So we got some breaking. Some breaking news here. Now, I should note because of course we're on the web, and this episode will be up there for some time. This is February 15th, 2013, and it's been preceded the last 3, 4, 5 weeks with other big commercial development announcements, right?
Right. The 10th at Capitol is moving ahead. They're still looking for a hotel operator.
Let's take a look at this now. I love this paper. I'm all over it on a regular basis, and at least I glance at the headlines on a regular basis. So this is really involving Shamrock Development, Mike Moylan, and what's going on here on 10th and
It's an area. It's a parking lot. It used to be the Swanson Food area, been leveled, and it's been a parking lot for Mecca and the auditorium, and now there's plans for retail development, commercial. There's a hotel.
Really?
There's residential. So it's adding along that stretch of Capitol that's supposed to be a major part of it.
And that would be considered part of the no-dough development as well.
Yeah, about 1 block no-dough.
Maybe 1 block north, yeah. Okay, well that's interesting. So mixed use. We just keep hearing about mixed use development, but this seems like a big one, huh? Almost like it's going to be an anchor.
It'll be a big one, and it gives them the entertainment group is interested because the hotel is going to add some capacity for conventions, that sort of stuff that's lacking a little bit. Right there by the convention center, so there's more rooms for conventions.
So they're bundling entertainment and, of course, hospitality and so on together. That's very, very interesting.
Yep. And then the Crossroads, of course, is getting ready to be redeveloped. They're going to tear down everything except the Target store. And
don't take away my Target now.
Yeah, well,
they have to be over there.
That's the one they just built. But all the old stuff is going, and it's going to become a kind of an outdoor mall. If you're familiar with Village Point, it's going to be something like that. But also a hotel there and some corporate offices, that sort of stuff.
So once again, it's the whole mixed use concept there.
Yep. And then we've talked about some office space development. Since office space is filling in, looking at the vacancy rate, and we keep track of that sort of thing because. As the vacancy rate gets higher, or it gets lower, there's less available, then they start building things to keep up with
or
the
raising
growth.
the rent slightly as well, huh?
Yeah, well, that's the other part. And it, when you put it together, it's kind of like you can sort of see that things are loosening up. One of the problems nationally with the recession is businesses, finances holding on to their money rather than spending it.
Yeah.
So now there's maybe some signs that some
we're
of the money's
loosening up here a little
getting
bit.
released a little bit into the economy.
We actually interviewed some folks from Omaha State Bank about, I don't know, 3 months ago, and they warned us. They said, or let us know this is coming. So things are unfolding. So here we see it.
And the businesses are very, that you've got to make a decision whether to take a risk or not. Every business decision is a risk. You don't want to be too far out ahead. You don't want to risk that and not have customers show up. On the other hand, you want to be there when the customers are ready and people start, when the economy loosens up and moves. So,
Steve, do you sense that we are moving, or the commercial development community is moving at the right time? Or like me, are you saying to yourself, what took them so long? They could have made this thing happen 18 months ago.
these guys that are doing this know more about it than I do, and they need to. It's not my money is on the line. I can't encourage them to do it. It's their credit and their money that's on the line, and they're the guys that have to decide. There's time to go or not time to wait.
Absolutely, of course. I know what you're saying now. And uncertainty is a very interesting issue. Now, this is all brick and mortar, right?
Right.
Would you guess, and this is a generalization, that existing companies, are going to be moving into most of these businesses right here, that they're going to be relocating into hot new locations?
Well, there's going to be some existing, but when you have these new locations, it opens up the way for entrepreneurial. We've got a pretty good section of time when young people especially are deciding to take a risk like that. I don't know if any of you guys out there are interested in being entrepreneurs.
Anybody out there right now from the Creighton Business School actually talking about being an entrepreneur sometime early in your career? Raise your hand if you think you are. Okay.
Yeah, there's some.
We see three or four, maybe 25, 30% of our grouping here. Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
And
the reality is, of course, about 10% of us actually end up being entrepreneurs. Huh?
Yeah.
Now, speaking of that, you've also covered some fabulous stories in the World Herald in the late January, early February timeframe, right? The Pipeline Group, right? Ben Vu here, right here. I'm sure you're familiar with Skyview. They've done some incredible things with SOMO. That would be social media and mobile, and the fusion of those two platforms. And then they're sticking entertainment into it, and then they're coming up with interesting toys for serving the toy market with that. That's exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a very creative guy, and the Pipeline is based in Kansas City. The Kauffman Foundation is a big backer of entrepreneurs. And then they've expanded to some other states and added Nebraska in. So
right, so Kansas and Nebraska are kind of included in the Pipeline Group. It's taken on some real critical mass. Now, it's very interesting. This Kauffman organization almost lost all its funding. $800,000 in funding was taken away from it about a year ago. So they were concerned about their very existence, right?
Yeah.
So very interesting that they've kind of grouped together. And I just want to say this insofar as strategic alliances within that group, or all groups, it seems like when we start to lose resources, right, we look around and we say, how can I join forces with somebody? When we're doing great and things are going really robust and we're churning along, then we're not so interested in forming partnerships with others. It's a very interesting thing.
You can tell. These outfits start looking for ways to spread the risk around and have some partners share in both the profits and the risk of maybe not making it, or having a long period where there's no return in order to have a later return for a longer period.
Yes. Whether you're playing the game in a short term or long term is a key consideration. Well, Steve Jordon, we love your paper. We love the money section. It keeps us abreast. We're always going to omaha.com to check things out before we go into a meeting, just to make sure we're up to speed on stuff. I thank you for your 40-year career. You've got the big picture. We're so grateful to have you join us here on WOWBIZ Weekly.
Okay.
Thank you, my friend.
Yep, thank you.
Terrific. Steve Jordon with the Omaha World Herald. Yeah. We'll be right back. Thanks for joining me on WOWBIZ Weekly. We'll be right back.